What is up, everybody? Back with another list here, and today I'm going to be counting down my 10 favorite glam metal bands. Love this subgenre, easily one of my absolute favorites of all time. So many great bands to go through and pick from with this. If you're one of those people that likes to bitch and moan about glam metal, whatever, but there's no denying the fact that the guitar playing is freaking amazing. A lot of these guys, some of the best of all time. Vito Bratta, George Lynch, Warren DeMartini. We'll get to these guys as we go on. But amazing guitar playing, a lot of great singers as well. Overall, just great songs, great everything in my opinion. But as usual, we'll give some honorable mentions at the end. Here we go.
Can't get enough without your love. Never need so much without your touch.
Starting off the list at number 10 is FireHouse. Awesome band here. They're from North Carolina and formed back in the late 80s. Their first album came out in 1990, which is relatively late for the scene, but still managed to get a lot of popularity. Went double platinum, killer stuff. Rock on the Radio, the opening song is amazing. All She Wrote has an amazing riff and guitar solo from Bill Leverty, who is a great player, one of my favorites in the genre. Ranked him in the top 10 in a past video. Killer tone, killer riffs, killer solos. Just an overall great player. Helpless on this album is fantastic as well. So check those out. I also have this album here, Hold Your Fire, which is great. Came out in 1992, and I didn't say this before, but CJ Snare on the vocals. Amazing singer. Again, one of the best in the genre. Looking at these, title track's great. Reach for the Sky is one of their absolute best songs. Amazing stuff. And I also have their third album, which is just called 3. Came out in 1995. Not quite as good as the first two, but still pretty good. And they have some good stuff mixed in here and there after that. But awesome band, FireHouse, number 10. Next up at number 9 is Winger, another awesome band, and I think these guys are one of, if not the most unfairly hated on band in all of hard rock and metal. Absolutely do not deserve the flack they get. Top tier musicianship, freaking Red Beach on guitar is a virtuoso shred machine. One of the best of all time, without question. Kip Winger on vocals, bass, keyboards, piano, acoustic guitar. Fantastic musician with a great voice. I actually saw him do an acoustic solo set about 5 years back. Originally, I was kind of disappointed when I walked in and saw, because it was on like a big bill with a bunch of glam metal type bands, and I thought it was going to be Winger, the full band, and I just saw it was Kip Winger solo, and I was like, dang. But it was shockingly amazing, super surprised, just awesome stuff. And Rod Morgenstein does the drumming for Winger, who's also great. But as far as the albums go, Debut, which I have right here, 1988, killer stuff, stacked full of awesome songs. Madeleine, Hungry, 17, which was their biggest hit. State of Emergency is an awesome, underrated one. Poison Angel, Headed for a Heartbreak. Killer stuff all over this album. What else I got here? In the Heart of the Young, right here, 1990. Another really good album. Also have it on cassette tape. And I also picked up Pull pretty recently. It came out in 1993. This one, maybe their heaviest album. A lot of really cool, awesome stuff. Junkyard Dogs, super heavy song. And as far as their three most recent albums, they had one in 2006 called 4, which IV4, and then they had Karma in 2009 and Better Days Coming, which are all pretty good, kind of heavy. Just great stuff. Awesome band here. Winger, my number 9, and I am actually seeing them, got to mention this Friday in Kentucky. Winger, FireHouse, Bullet Boys. If you're in the area, come check it out because it's going to be amazing. But yeah, Winger, my number 9. Coming in at number 8 is Sleeze Beez, killer band from the Netherlands here. So we got some Dutch glam metal. 4 albums total from these guys. The first one came out in 1987 called Look Like Hell. Don't love that one, just particularly because of the vocals, who on the second album onward, they got a guy named Andrew Elt, who is a huge step up from the first guy, which he came along on this album here, Screwed, Blued, and Tattooed, which is their most popular release from a commercial standpoint. I think it got to like number 140 on the Billboard 200, which is decent. But Rockin' the Western World on here, Houses on Fire, some of the standouts. And whole lineup, we got Don Van Spal and Chris Van Jaarsveld on guitar, Jan Koster on the drums, and Ed Jongsma on bass. So that's the lineup. And then after this, they had Power Tool in 1992, which is my favorite album from them. On that one, they really do well at that like gang vocal harmonization style in the choruses, like kind of similar to Def Leppard, what they do. But I love that. And the last album of theirs from 1994 called Insanity Beach, which they went heavier on. They're one of the few glam metal bands that tried to go really heavy and did it well. But that album's really good as well. So awesome band here, Sleeze Beez, number 8. Next up at number 7 is White Lion. Awesome band here. They've got 5 albums total. First 4 with Vito Bratta are great. The dude, again, one of the best guitar players of all time. Such a melodic, soulful player. His riffs, his solos, his tone, his melodies, his finger-tapping guitar solo style, all that stuff is freaking amazing from Vito. As far as the albums go, I got to go with the first one from 1985 called Fight to Survive as being my favorite. Got kind of a darker feel than the rest of them. Broken Heart to open up the album. One of my favorite songs by them, definitely my favorite Vito Bratta guitar solo of all time. All Burn in Hell, El Salvador, a couple of the other standouts from that album. Then is this one, Pride from 1987. Yeah, it's got some like water damage on it, but really good album here again. Hungry to open it up. One of Vito's best riffs of all time. Lonely Nights, Lady of the Valley, some of the standouts on here. Got the next album, Big Game from 1989. A lot of good stuff on this one as well. Radar Love, of course. The big kind of hit from this album for them. They had a music video. It was the cover of the Golden Earring song. They did a great job on that. But looking at the rest, Going Home Tonight's great. If My Mind Is Evil's an awesome one. Let's Go Crazy. That's got to be one of their best and most underrated songs of all time. And, of course, Main Attraction from 1991. Another killer album. Last one with Vito. They did have another one later on with just Mike Tramp returning from the classic lineup. That's probably the weakest album. It's still okay. But overall, amazing band here. White Lion, number 7. Coming in at number 6 is Mötley Crüe. Really cool band here. Mick Mars on guitar is fantastic. Some of the best tone in all of metal, especially glam metal. And I actually did make a top 10 Mick Mars guitar solos, which is by far my most popular video. What I did was, as soon as The Dirt came out on Netflix, I knew all these people that didn't know about Mötley Crüe before were going to go on YouTube searching it up after. So I was like, you know what? I'm putting out this list real quick. Put it on there. It's got over 100,000 views, so that's sick because I knew everybody would be searching it up after. But yeah, Mick, great player. Nikki Sixx on bass, good songwriter, cool bass player. Tommy Lee, Machine on the drums, and Vince Neil on vocals. Yeah, people are divided on his voice, but I think it fits the music pretty well, especially the studio stuff is great. Not so great live, but as far as these albums go, 1981, the debut, Too Fast for Love, is great. Live Wire to open it up is a freaking amazing song, great riff. Take Me to the Top has an amazing chorus. Love the melody of that song. And probably Piece of Your Action, my favorites on there. Got Shout at the Devil, their second album from 1983. Killer stuff here. Love the title track, Looks That Kill, Bastard, Knock 'Em Dead Kid, Red Hot, Too Young to Fall in Love. Top to bottom, that's a fantastic record. And 1985, got Theater of Pain. Not the strongest, but I definitely think that is a pretty good album. Not as bad as some people act like it is. And then Girls, Girls, Girls from 87, I love. That's my second favorite Mötley Crüe album behind Shout at the Devil. I just love the tone. There's a lot of great riffs, a lot of great underrated songs all over Girls, Girls, Girls. And Dr. Feelgood, which I think is the weakest of the 80s personally, but still quite good. First 5 albums are pretty much all I really like from Mötley Crüe, but easily enough to get them on this list and kind of high up on it. They're at number 6. So yeah, Mötley Crüe, my number 6. Next up at number 5 is Vain. Maybe the most surprising pick on the list, considering how high they are. A lot of people only know them for their debut album, 1989, No Respect, which was fantastic. Definitely their best album. They've got a lot of good stuff after that. The most recent album from 2017, Rolling with the Punches, was in my top 10 of the year in 2017. Killer stuff. Awesome songs all over the album. The singer, Davey Vain, has a really good, unique voice. Hasn't lost anything on it. Sounds the exact same as he did in 89. Right now, so that's really cool. Looking at the rest of these albums, Move On It from 1994 is really cool. Fade from 95, and this band does a really nice job of, mixing that classic hard rock and like glam metal type of thing with some psychedelic and some funky type of stuff, which usually I'm not the biggest fan of. But with this band, they just make it work, and most of their stuff is freaking awesome. Definitely go check out Vane if you're not familiar. And a lot of their stuff's kind of dark sounding too, especially on the first album. Just killer stuff, top to bottom of their discography. Vane, my number 5.
I need a shot of gasoline. I'm hitting 116. I get so hot at 16.
Next up at number 4 is Cinderella. Amazing band right here. And I've been asked in the past, what are the big 4 of glam metal? Here it is, definitive big 4. Number 4, Cinderella. Tom Kiefer, frontman of the band, is an absolutely amazing musician. Great singer, great guitarist, plays saxophone, piano, does all this stuff. Just overall great frontman. You got Jeff LaBar on guitar alongside of him, who's great. Eric Brittingham on the bass, and Fred Corey on drums, who was actually the original drummer of Chastain, was on that first Chastain album, Mystery of Illusion in '85, which is really cool. But as far as the Cinderella albums go, this beast of an album, their debut from 1986, Night Songs, without question their best, top to bottom, all killer, no filler. A lot heavier than you would expect as well, just looking at that album cover. So, title track to open it up is fantastic. Shake Me, Nobody's Fool, which is a ballad, but definitely has kind of a dark feel to it. Nothing for Nothing is great. Once Around the Ride, Hell on Wheels, Somebody Save Me, Back Home Again, Push Push. Really, just not a weak song on here. A couple other albums. I've got Long Cold Winter from 1988, their second release, which is killer again. Bad Seamstress Blues, Into Falling Apart at the Seams, opening like 1-2 punch there is amazing. Gypsy Road, Don't Know What You Got Till It's Gone is a ballad that I honestly don't really care for too much, but hey, big huge hit for them, so that's nice for them. Last Mile's great. Second Wind, really like a fast upbeat song on the album. The title track, super bluesy and cool. Coming Home, Take Me Back, Fire and Ice. Really, just could list all those songs on those first 2 albums. They're all great for the most part. Don't really love Heartbreak Station. I think I've got it somewhere around here, but that one's just okay. And Still Climbing from 1994, which came out a few years later. I think they're having some kind of problems in the band, but put this out in 94. Got Bad Attitude Shuffle, which is super heavy and awesome. Talk is Cheap is great. Free Will and some of my favorites on here. Just amazing band. Cinderella, my number 4. Coming in at number 3 is LA Guns. Absolutely love this band, and of course right now the situation with them is super annoying, where you got Phil Lewis and Tracy Guns have their LA Guns. You got Steve Riley and Kelly Nichols have their LA Guns. Dude, I want what has Phil Lewis on vocals. The dude is a fantastic singer. His voice is the voice of LA Guns. So Phil Lewis, that is LA Guns. Of course, Tracy Guns is a really good guitar player, has his name, but the albums that have just Phil and not Tracy are a lot better than the albums that have Tracy and not Phil, if that makes sense. But first album right here is an absolute stone cold classic of the genre. 1988, all killer, no filler. Freaking blistering guitar work from Tracy. Vocals from Phil are amazing. No Mercy, Sex Action, One More Reason, Electric Gypsy. Just top to bottom, this is freaking awesome. Also have the second album, Cocked and Loaded from 1989. Dude, slap in the face. That is one of their best songs for sure. Maybe the best. Rip and Tear's great. Never Enough. Malaria. Freaking all this stuff again is killer. And then there's a really super underrated run of albums I've got listed right here, which kind of helps catapult them this high, which is their stuff from Man in the Moon up through, I'd say, Hollywood Forever in 2012. With Tales from the Strip, 2005 is an underrated gem. Just killer stuff. Sounds like it came out in 88, but it came out in 2005. So super cool to hear. Highly recommend you go check out that one. Tales from the Strip, 2005. LA Guns, number 3. Next up at number 2 is Ratt. Such a great band, formed back in the late 70s actually, and they're definitely one of the heavier bands within glam. We're on that first Metal Massacre release from Metal Blade Records in 1982, which is pretty cool. Got their debut EP on vinyl right here from 1983, which was a freaking sick find. Got the band picture there on the back. Who we got here? We got Juan Crocier, who plays bass, who was actually in Dokken before this. Got Robin Crosby, who sadly passed away, on guitar. Stephen Pearcy, Bobby Blotzer, and my favorite member of the band, Warren DeMartini. One of my favorite guitar players of all time. Such amazing guitar tone from him and Robin Crosby for that matter. Those two guys, dueling guitar, solos, and melodies, and freaking everything about their guitar playing is awesome. Stephen Pearcy has a pretty unique, distinctive voice, I think, and the other guys in the band are great as well, but this is freaking awesome to have. I do have the full-length debut Out of the Cellar on vinyl. It's hanging up on the wall downstairs, but have it on cassette tape as well, which this is actually my favorite metal debut of all time. Heavy metal, glam metal, whatever. It's my favorite of all time, and it was the first album I bought on CD like 15 years ago. Wanted Man to Open It Up is freaking awesome. You're in Trouble. All these songs are great. I'm Insane, Scene of the Crime, Lack of Communication, Round and Round. Could list them all, but what else I got? I got Invasion of Your Privacy, 1985 on vinyl. I've got, and every song on here for the most part, again, is great. Lay It Down, one of the greatest riffs of all time. I've got Dancing Undercover on vinyl, which is great. Body Talk, best song on there. Also have it on cassette tape. I've got Reach for the Sky, solid album from 1988, and the pretty underrated and quite good Detonator from 1990. But yeah, that is Ratt, number 2, and some honorable mentions I've got before I want to get to number 1. First off, Dangerous Toys, super close to making it, great band. I've got their debut album somewhere in here as well, but this is the second album, Hellacious Acres from 1991. Awesome stuff. Spread Eagle, they're a little heavier than a lot of these bands, but they're like kind of right between. They're just like in the middle of nowhere. Great band. Let's see who else I got listed. Bang Tango's awesome. Skid Row, you know, their first album I would say is glam metal, but then they got a lot heavier on Slave to the Grind. You want to call that glam metal? Not really. But Skid Row is a great band. Poison, even though people make fun of them, I think they're pretty good. Definitely deserving of an honorable mention. Warrant is awesome. Bullet Boys is great. Pantera's glam stuff, got to get an honorable mention. But yeah, that's most of my honorable mentions. I'm sure there are a lot more. But yeah, on to my number 1.
Toss and turn all night in the sheets, but I can't sleep. Night after night, don't know what it means in my dreams.
And taking the number 1 spot for me has got to be Dokken. Have always loved these guys. They've always been one of my absolute favorite bands, regardless of what metal subgenre we're talking about. Just the freaking lineup, that classic lineup, George Lynch on guitar. Such a great player, easily one of the best of all time. His tone, his riffs, solos, everything about him. Great, great player. Don Dokken, I have always loved his voice. Really smooth, melodic, soulful vocals from him. The classic era, his vocals are great. Still, even up through like their most recent album, Broken Bones, people shit on his vocals, but I think they're pretty good all the way up through there. Obviously now he's like 65 years old. He's not going to be singing as good as he did in 1983. People need to lay off him a little bit. Jeff Pilson on bass has always been a fantastic player. He was in Dio's band for a while, in a bunch of different bands, but he is a great player. And Mick Brown on the drums is a great drummer. So as far as the albums go, the first one, 1981, was Breaking the Chains. Originally came out in 81, then came out again in 83. Title track to that is one of, if not their absolute best song of all time. Night Rider is a super underrated, great song from them. Paris is Burning, which was on the 83 version, was recorded in like late 82. That opening solo from Lynch is mind-blowing, freaking amazing. Got this album here, 1984, Tooth and Nail. Got the guys there on the back looking like beasts. Man, all these songs are great. Title track is, it's like Tooth and Nail title track and Breaking the Chains title track are possibly their 2 best songs of all time. But Heartless Heart, Don't Close Your Eyes, Turn on the Action. Alone Again on here is even like a really good ballad, I think. But my favorite Dokken album is actually Under Lock and Key from 85. Again, love a lot of these songs. Unchained the Night is up there for one of their best songs. In My Dreams, even though, you know, the like kind of chorus is okay, but the solo is amazing, the riff is amazing. Rest of the song is freaking great. It's Not Love is awesome. Lightning Strikes Again is one of their heaviest, fastest songs. Yeah, this whole album is freaking killer. And I've got several more right here. Freaking Back for the Attack, which I've got these albums on vinyl as well, sitting around somewhere. I think they're on my wall downstairs, actually. But, yeah, killer stuff right here. Back for the Attack. Kiss of Death to Open It Up is amazing. Prisoner, Night by Night, Standing in the Shadows. Mr. Scary, which is an epic freaking shred fest guitar instrumental from George Lynch. Of course, there's drumming as well, but The guitar playing on that is amazing. So Many Tears, Dream Warriors, which was on the Nightmare on Elm Street 3 soundtrack, Sleepless Night, Cry of the Gypsy, which has one of George Lynch's best solos. And then I've got a couple later era albums right here. Race to Slate from 1999, which actually had Reb Beach from Winger, who I talked about earlier. This is a pretty cool album, I think, from 1999. And Long Way Home. This one's from 2000. Don't want to mess up. I think it's 2002. And this one actually had John Norum from Europe on it, which is pretty cool on guitar. And I don't have it on CD, but their album Lightning Strikes Again from 2008, not 19, 2008 is one of their best albums. I think I ranked it like 4th in my discography ranking of theirs. So definitely check that one out if you want like a more modern Dokken album that sounds classic. Definitely Lightning Strikes Again. And honestly, most of their albums are awesome, except for freaking, what's that album called? Shadow Life, man. That album sucks. But the rest of their stuff besides that is really good. And that is my number 1 glam metal band. Talked a while on this video. It's going to be like 15 minutes long at least, I think, maybe 20. But those were my favorite glam metal bands. I'd like to know your favorites in the comments. Let me know what you thought. And until next time, thank you for watching.